This is Jerusalem, the most epic city in the world. And today, you will see this magnificent city from a new and incredible perspective. I have recorded something that I wanted to do for a very long time. And finally, I was able to do it. And today, I invite you for this one-in-a-lifetime journey around the old city of Jerusalem, where you will be able to see all the gates of Jerusalem like never before. You will be able to see the magnificent Jaffa Gate, the Zion Gate, which remembers the battle for the independence of Israel, the Dan Gate, which leads us to the most holy place for the Jewish people around the world, the Kotel, the Western Wall. We will see the gate that anticipates the Messiah, the legendary Golden Gate. We will go through the Lion's Gate, the gate through which the soldiers of Israel retook the Temple Mount. We'll see all the gates leading to the Muslim Quarter, starting from the Herod's Gate next to the Garden Tomb. We will also visit one of the most unique and one of the most busy gates in Jerusalem, the Damascus Gate, located in the heart of the Muslim Quarter. And finally, we will see the New Gate, the most recent opening in the ancient walls of Jerusalem. Finally, there is a video where you can experience all those magnificent gates in one video, in one place. And together we'll be very close and we'll walk through all those legendary gates. And what is really cool about this video, which I think nobody has done yet, is that not only you will be able to see those gates up close, but also you will be able to walk with me and see the whole path. We'll go around the old city of Jerusalem. So let's start our amazing journey going around the walls of Jerusalem. We'll begin by starting with the New Gate. Let's go. Shalom friends, welcome to another walk in Jerusalem, and we're just standing here next to the New Gate, and today I would like to take you on a little tour around the walls of Jerusalem, and we will specifically focus on the different gates that you can see in Jerusalem that lead toward the old city. So this is where we start, the New Gate. This is the newest gate built in the 19th century during the Ottoman rule, and it's the newest, and it's also located at the highest point of the wall. So if you look here in this direction, you'll see it's kind of like going downhill. That's the direction of the Damascus Gate. And if we look from here, you can see also a hill going kind of down in the distance. So this is the highest point. This is where we start. And I'll be talking to you about all those gates, their significance, because this is quite modern gate. It was created here to get access to the Christian Quarter, because this, if we would enter through this gate, we are like in a Christian Quarter. So you can see here, this is the different cafes you can see at the New Gate, and there are also different shops here, so they're pretty much open all the time. So if you enter here, you directly are entering the Christian Quarter, and there are of course 4 quarters. There's the Christian Quarter, there is a Muslim Quarter, a Jewish Quarter, and an Armenian Quarter. So this lady is trying to get in with her car, I don't know. Let's try to evacuate. It's very narrow gate, as you can see. It's impossible for two cars to pass. So this is the first gate, the new gate. One more look at it. And as I will be sharing with you this information, you'll also see maps. I'll edit that and give you some information exactly where this gate is located so you can check it out yourself. So we will now continue that way and we'll see more gates on this side of the old city. So we're going east. You can see in the distance the mountain over there. That's the Mount Scopus, and also on the right side there is the Mount of Olives. So guys, just to give you orientation again, this is where the new gate is, and this is the direction we are heading. So we are going east into the direction of Mount Scopus, Mount of Olives. So we're continuing our walk downhill. And on our right we have the walls. So you see some flags of Christian Quarter. And we're now going into the direction of the Damascus Gate, which is much lower than the new gate that we were just standing next to. But we have just entered also the Muslim Quarter, the Muslim part of Jerusalem.
Sehr gut, jetzt auf Deutsch auch mal.
So there is a nice park here next to the walls. And they built some fences around it. I think it's pretty new, so maybe not all of it, but there are some stairs that lead you up to the walls. And I've done once the tour of the old city on the walls. So this is from a different perspective. This is looking down. We'll be passing a lot of streets that are pretty busy, that are pretty loud. So I hope you will be able to hear me well as I will be entering those areas. Here you'll be able to see some signs of where we are. Again, those maps are good because you can kind of see where we were. So the new gate. This is Jaffa Gate, one of the main gates to the old city. And we are right now here. So we'll continue this path until we reach the Damascus Gate. And then we'll continue and reach the Herod's Gate. And we'll continue and reach the Lion's Gate. Then we'll go next to the Golden Gate. We'll pass through next to the Golden Gate, continue. It's going to be a long walk over here, and eventually we'll end up in the Dan Gate and go continue Zion Gate, and the last gate we'll see will be the Jaffa Gate. So this is basically our tour for today. So just to remind you, the walls we see today are not the ancient walls of Jerusalem, you know, from Herod's time or David's time. Of course, are much, much later. They're not even built on the same line as the ancient walls. They're pretty ancient because they were built in the 16th century by Suleiman the Magnificent, but they're not the walls, the original walls, like from the time of Nehemiah, for example. Some parts of the wall do go on the line of the ancient walls, but the walls are not exactly in the same place as the ancient walls, for example, from the Second Temple period. However, there are parts, as I said, where we will talk about the wall, for example, and the structures from the Second Temple. So guys, let me illustrate what I mean about the walls. So the red line shows you the walls around the old city of Jerusalem today. Those are the walls that were built by Suleiman the Magnificent in the 16th century, and this is the line of the walls we are following on this journey. But actually, the first line of defenses of the city of Jerusalem was built around the city of David. Eventually, those walls were extended to the area of the Temple Mount when the temple was built. But there is also another line of fortifications that were built in the 8th century by King Hezekiah. This is the so-called Broad Wall that was built to protect the Western Hill. And as you can see, some of the parts of the wall of Hezekiah go on the same line as the modern walls of the old city of Jerusalem. So this is the summary, very quick. Let's continue. So we are now in a very busy place. This is the main gate through which people from the Muslim quarters, from the Muslim part of, Arab part of Jerusalem, go into the city, the old city. So this is the new city, the Arab part, and over there in the distance you will see the Damascus Gate, and we'll talk about why it's called the Damascus Gate. Talk a little bit about its location and its purpose. So you can see the market here. So this gate is quite unusual because you see the level of the street, right? And you actually need to descend, go down to enter the old city through this gate. And it's a pretty big gate. It's pretty massive, and that was one of the main gates that led to what we would know today as Nablus, but in the ancient days it would not be known as Shechem. So in that direction you would go to North Israel, and that was the main road that started here, and that's why this gate is called Damascus Gate, because you go north in the direction of Syria, so Damascus, and that's why it's called. But the Hebrews call it also the Shechem Gate, because it also was into the direction of Shechem, so it's important to know that. So this gate also is very close to the Garden Tomb. If you would continue that way, eventually you would be entering a place which is a nice enclosed area, very quiet, very different from here. And there is a place of possible location of Golgotha, so the place of crucifixion. And the main point of this location is, one of the main points is that this was a very busy road back in the days, and that's also a busy place today, So the crucifixions, the executions of people would happen in places like that, where there is a lot of people, and people would see the punishment, what happens to the Roman rebels. So, you know, it's a good point, but there are some problems with the Garden Tomb, because the tombs that are there have been used from the first temple period. So, and in the New Testament we read that that was a new tomb, not used, and the ones we see in the Garden Tomb are quite ancient, used definitely before the 1st century AD. So I want to show you one more thing here before we move on, and we'll see the gate from two sides, so we'll be able to see how it looks inside and also outside. So let me get on the stairs here. It's going to be easier to walk because I'm walking on the big stones. So that's how it looks. We descend now to the street level. But if you think this is low, you know, this is low, wait a minute, I'll show you something. Because over here, just next to the Damascus Gate, we have an even more ancient gate. And that's part of a gate which is known as the Hadrian Gate. And what you see here is just one opening of the gate. So the gate would be having 3 openings, and the main opening would be in the middle, the biggest one, and the other 2 openings are smaller. So you see also the columns that were just next to this opening, and that's why this gate sometimes it's called the Gate of the Columns. So that was actually the level of the street in the 2nd century. So it's much lower than today, and this level we have today is still lower than the level of the modern street. So it's quite interesting. What I want to say also is that this gate, when it was built, it was just a single gate standing here, and it wasn't connected with a wall, so it was like a monument, a triumphal monument built for the glory of the Emperor Hadrian. Eventually it was connected, the Hadrian Gate, with a wall, as the Damascus Gate is connected today. So that's quite a fascinating history. So this place goes back to at least the 2nd century AD. And you can see the impressive architecture of this gate. Of course, it's from Ottoman times, so we will be able to enter through this gate. So the gate is like in an L shape, and that's for protection. When the horses, cavalry would attack, they would have to turn in the gate, and that would be problematic, more difficult to attack the city if the gate is shaped like that. So now we'll see it from the other side. That's how it looks from inside the old city. And when you enter here, you're basically in the Arab quarter of Jerusalem, the Muslim quarter. So we're like in a very busy place right now. You see different shops. A lot is happening here. Different noises, different smells. It's a very lively place. So, but we will not explore it today. We'll continue our walk around the city walls and discover the other gates around the old city of Jerusalem. So, you see some of the sweets. So we'll continue now, we'll go up and follow the line of the walls. So one more look at the Damascus Gate and Hadrian Gate. So two gates in one. So if we think about Apostle Paul, you know, but that was of course in the 1st century, but a gate might have been here that would also go into a road that would lead to Damascus. So you can imagine what direction Paul would start moving. So that direction north. Okay guys, so before I leave, I just want to show you some of the atmosphere here next to the gate. You can see some of the shops, what they're selling here. It's pretty busy. Hectic even. See, they sell fish here. So some of the fishes are sold here. Many other different things. So you got a different mixture of different smells. As you see here. Here you have some electronics that are stored for phones, iPhones, cables, chargers, cases. This is often also quite popular. This is bread, but not very clean. It's kept in a not a very good condition. But we will continue. So we were just on the other side of the road. That's the Damascus Gate, and now we're gonna go. We have one more gate on this side, on the northern side of the city, the old city, and then we'll go to the eastern side. So we're moving east, and there is only one gate on the eastern side. So on this side we have three gates. We saw the new gate. This is the Damascus Gate, and the last gate on this side will be the Herod's Gate. So we'll go see it now, and on the way there are other interesting stuff you hopefully will be able to see. So one more view on the Damascus Gate. That direction we have the Christian quarter. Here over here is the Muslim quarter. So you see a scarp over there. That's the location of the Garden Tomb, and on top of it you have a Muslim cemetery. So if you would go there, there's like a bus station now there, and what you can see here is the Zedekiah Cave. So it's not open now, but this is an ancient quarry site. Some of the stones that were quarried here were used to build the second temple. But let's see if show you a little bit of it. Well, it's very dark there. Anyways, there's an opening. It even says that King Solomon was using stone here for building material. So today is Shabbat, so we won't be able to see it, but it's a place you can visit if you're here. Once again, just to show you the perspective, this is where it is. And now we continue. So you see now the walls, if you look at them, they change. A lot of the base of the walls is just rock, and only the top part are the walls. And if you compare the color of the rock with the stones used for the wall, you can see that they're the same color. This is the limestone, Kurkar stone. It's quite, it's a quite soft stone, so it's easy to work with. But it has this white color to it, this white, sometimes yellowish color. And when Jerusalem is illuminated at night, you can really look at it and see like the whole city is golden. That's why there is a lot of references to Jerusalem being the city of gold. So last time I walked with you here, this road was worked on, and now look, it's a new road. Looks pretty good, and they have been able to finish it, so that's always good. And we're getting close now to the third gate we will be seeing today, Herod's Gate. And in the distance you can see kind of like a tower. That's the Rockefeller Center, the Rockefeller Museum, and there are some important things to see there, some ancient findings. It's an interesting museum if you want to see it. They have artifacts from different time periods. So another gate leading towards the Muslim quarter. So you can see now where we are. We are here, and we were at the Damascus Gate, the new gate. So now we're just next to the Herod's Gate. And this is of course the Temple Mount. It's the Golden Gate. And the bus station, central bus station, goes east. Mount of Olives, you go forward. And the Rockefeller Museum is that tower over there.
Guys, we'll continue in a moment, but I would like to take this opportunity to thank everybody who's supporting my channel. Thank you so much for your support. As you know, I'm doing everything myself, all the editing, 3D models, drawings. I do it for free and I'm happy I can do it, and thanks to your support, I can continue doing it. If any one of you would be interested in joining and supporting the channel, I will be very grateful. The best way to support me is through Patreon, but there are also other ways like PayPal or even my webpage if you want to buy some of the 3D models I create. So make sure you check out the links you see now on the screen. They will be also posted in the description of this video, so you can check them out after we're done with this episode. But now, let's continue our journey.
So the question is, why is this gate called the Herod's Gate?
And what Herod? Which Herod? Because there were several Herods. So this gate is referring to Herod Antipas, the Tetrarch. And the reason why this gate and the name of it comes from the 16th and 17th century, the reason why it's called Herod's Gate is because it is believed that the house of Herod Antipas was very close to this gate. And if we read the New Testament in Luke chapter 23, we read that Pontius Pilate sends Jesus to Herod. So this is a gate. Of course, it is built again by Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, and it goes into an Arab neighborhood once again. And I'll show you now how this gate looks from the inside and the outside. So this is the outside. It's pretty a straightforward gate. It's not in a L shape as we saw with the Damascus Gate. So this is basically the other side, Herod's Gate. So again, you can see when it was built, some information about it, and you can see it better from here. So we're getting lower and lower. You know, you can see the steps over there. In that direction, you would have the Damascus Gate, and that's, if you go further, you'll see the rest of the Muslim quarter. So, but again, we'll continue because we want to see today all the gates of the old city of Jerusalem. Here you can buy some fruits, vegetables in the gate. Gates are very important in biblical narrative. We read about them. There's a lot of things happening in the gates. You have sages sitting in the gates. You have even kings sitting in the gates. So they're very, very important. And there are many stories connected to the gates in the Bible. So you can see the atmosphere and why, because even today, when we live in the 21st century, this is an ancient city, and some of the customs have stayed here till today. So one more look at the Herod's Gate, and we'll continue our journey around the walls of the old city of Jerusalem. And this is the last gate we'll see on this side. So this is the last gate, and now the next gate on our path will be the Lion's Gate. That's also an interesting gate to see. There is a lot of history connected to it, even modern history of Israel. Now this is a bus. You can take it. I believe this bus goes to the Mount of Olives, and the bus station is not far from here. It's behind that building. So as a main central bus station in the Arab part of Jerusalem. And that's the Rockefeller Center I was talking about. So Rockefeller Museum. You see the sign over there. Shows you it. So again, a nice day in Jerusalem, about 21 degrees Celsius. So pretty nice. It's perfect weather for walking. There is not a lot of wind. There is sunshine. So it's very, very pleasant. So now we are getting close to the Kidron Valley, which separates the old city of Jerusalem with the Mount of Olives, from the Mount of Olives. So you can see here again the rock, and on the rock you have modern structures built. So the same situation on this side. See the wall continues on this Kurkar limestone. It's built into it. So you can see now you'll see a sharp descent into the valley. So we are now on the western hill, on which you have the old city of Jerusalem, you have even the western Jerusalem, and we go into the direction of the Kidron Valley, and on this other side, of course, is Mount Scopus and Mount of Olives. Mount Scopus, I also say, it's part of Mount of Olives Ridge. So we'll walk that direction, but I just want to show you some of the views here. Tell you a little bit about what we can see. So this is a busy road here, you see. So that's the Hebrew University over there. That's the tower over there. That's the Mormon, I don't know, institute, I guess. It's like with the arches over there. And that's Augusta Victoria. That's a German hospital. And over there is the Church of Resurrection. That's the big tower. I mean the tall tower, like sticking. So this is basically the east, and behind this mountain is the desert. So okay guys, so let's continue our walk. We'll go now this way, and it's gonna be interesting because we're gonna walk through an Arab cemetery. So I just gotta get out of this hill. So I'll go here. And on this side, as we will cross, we should end up next to the Lion's Gate. And then as we will continue, we will end up eventually next to the Golden Gate. So we'll go this path. It's a little bit quieter here. That's a Muslim cemetery. It goes way, way, way in that direction until it reaches really the Lion's Gate. So this part of the wall is not often seen, but you have a chance to see it now. Here's some of the nature.
It's very quiet. No tourists here. Just us and some local people. So we could have walked over there, but it would be very, very noisy because of the traffic, cars honking all the time. I mean, the view might be a little bit better, but we'll get the view once we get to the Lion's Gate, and then even a better view when we get to the Golden Gate. So over there, in that direction, you can already see parts of the Mount of Olives. I was there not long ago. You can check out that episode. I will leave a link in the description of this episode if you want to see it. I also have a walk where I walk up the Mount of Olives. So I recommend it. It's a nice walk. If you want to get to know a little bit more about the area of Mount of Olives, that's a good place to go, because I walk almost around the Mount of Olives and I talk about many important places we can see from there. So it's gonna get loud again down there, but now you can see where we kinda are. And over here already you can see the Lion's Gate. So it's called the Lion's Gate, and you can see the two lions on each side. And the story goes that Sultan Suleiman had a vision in which he was told that he would be eaten by lions for leveling Jerusalem. So when he said that he will not do it, that he will refrain from it, the lions and the vision told him that they will be protecting the city. And so Suleiman the Magnificent put two lions here representing that story. But you can see the Israeli soldiers here, and it's quite symbolic because this was the main gate through which Israel entered the old city in the Six-Day War in 1967. So it was a very important gate, and they went right through this gate and then went left to conquer, to take control of the Temple Mount and also the Western Wall and the whole eastern Jerusalem. So the whole old city got under the control of Israel, and that was a very important day for the whole of Israel. So this is this gate where it happened. So it's important to Israel now because this is where the soldiers entered. So just to show you where we are. So it's the Lion's Gate, and you see This is the beginning also of the Via della Rosa, where you begin the walk. And of course, this is the Temple Mount over here. So it's very close from the Lion's Gate, so you can imagine. And actually, from this level, you can enter the Temple Mount. It's on the same level as the street. So when we will be on this side over here, you will see the walls are much higher than the street level. And so we are here. We'll continue until we reach the Golden Gate. So there are two gates on this side. One of them is sealed, so the Golden Gate. Lion's Gate is open. We saw the Herod's Gate. We saw the Damascus Gate. And we saw the New Gate. So we did cover, I guess, 1/3 of the journey. Still some parts ahead of us. So I'll just, once again, as I have done, we'll show you the gate from this side. And I'll focus on the lions for you so you can see them. See from this side, this side, and that's the gate here. So once again, you can see the information on the gate. That's the inside of it. There are huge doors here. And cars also pass through this gate, which is kind of ridiculous because it's very narrow. Okay? And if we would continue this way, over there you see, like, behind everything, there's an opening. That's already the Temple Mount. So we can't enter from this perspective. But let me just show you from a better spot so that you have an understanding. So that's over there. It's one of the entrance to the Temple Mount. So we could descend over there. That's the way to the Kidron Valley, but we will not do it. Because we're gonna go here. So this is the Muslim cemetery. I've been here many times, but you know, because of the war, the tensions, it's kind of like you never know if they're going to allow you to come here. There's even Israeli soldiers at the gates, so they may say, you know, don't go there, it's dangerous now. So, but there are great views from here, some of the best you can see in Jerusalem. And it's pretty quiet here, so not a lot of people, but look at this view. This is amazing. And you see the Church of All Nations there, Church Saint Mary Magdalene, and the Mount of Olives. So that over there is the Hebrew University, the Mormon Center. So the Church of Nations is where traditionally Gethsemane Garden is also located. So again, I did that part of the tour, so if you want to check it out, it's available. Just check out the link and you'll get all that territory in that video. Different views, different information. So make sure to check it out. And now we are probably in the most important gate in the old city of Jerusalem. Of course, this gate is like any other gate built during different times, because this gate is different and the same. It's the same because it's part of the walls of the old city of Jerusalem today, which were built in the 16th century. But it is very unique because it's part of the Temple Mount. So behind this gate you already have the Temple Mount. So if you would go from the Mount of Olives to the Golden Gate, you would directly enter the Temple Mount. So you'd have to cross this valley. That's the Kidron Valley. If you imagine, you come from the desert. Over there is Jordan, over there is the Judean desert. So you come to the top of the Mount of Olives. You get this view over here. You get this gate. You see it. You have to come down to the Kidron Valley, cross the Kidron Valley, and then climb up here and eventually enter the Temple Mount. And the reason also it's so important, as I told you, it's part of the Temple Mount. So it is built actually on very ancient foundations. And if we get closer to this gate, you will be absolutely blown away, because there are some foundations of this gate that are very, very ancient. So at the bottom of this gate, we do have some large stones like here, and they are very, very ancient. So this gate is in the location of ancient gates built in this place. And if we remember the Bible, this gate was the eastern gate. It was very important ceremonially, because through this gate you had, for example, the red heifers that would go and be sacrificed on Mount of Olives. There was even a special bridge that went through, and it was an arch bridge that would help the priest not to touch anything that was unclean. And of course, on Mount of Olives you had a lot of people buried, so a clean passage was necessary to go from the Temple Mount to Mount of Olives, where the sacrifice of the red heifer would be performed. So that was this. Another story is that in the New Testament we read that Jesus, when he came from Jericho, so again, he came from that direction over there, he crossed and entered the Mount of Olives, and he entered the city through this gate. So everybody was very excited. There was a big celebration. Actually, it was the time of Passover, but people started bringing branches of palm branches and signifying that this is already Shavuot, which meant that people were expecting the Messianic age to start. Of course, that was not what has happened. People were disappointed that it didn't happen like that. So that's this story. The other story is that we have in the Torah, the Tanakh, the prophecies that say that the Messiah, he will come on the Mount of Olives. and he will also enter through this gate from the east. So if nothing changes in our time, and the Messiah will come in our time, he will enter through this gate. Can you imagine this? This is gonna be some really spectacular stuff, because this mountain will split in half. It will have a river that will go through it. One part of the river will go to the Dead Sea, and the other part will go to the Mediterranean Sea, and the whole region will become like a garden. Everything will become alive, because everything behind this mountain is dead. So when the Messiah will come, he will bring life to people that will resurrect, that will rise, but also he will bring life to the whole region. The Dead Sea will no longer be dead. There will be fishes in it, and the people will have so many fish that their nets will not be able to hold them. So miracles will happen. And of course, in the book of Ezekiel, another prophet, we read about the fourth temple. I call it the fourth.
Okay, let me explain this. The first temple was the temple built by Solomon. The second temple, we recognize this is the temple built by Herod the Great, although it was started by Nehemiah, Ezra, so much earlier. And then there is the third temple, which is prepared by the Temple Institute, and there is also a fourth temple, which is described in the book of Ezekiel.
The Ezekiel temple, the temple that God designs again. And this temple will also have a gate that will go to the east, that you will be able to enter through the east. And through that gate, we read that the glory of God, the Shekinah glory, will enter. So, as the glory of God left Jerusalem through the eastern gate, it went through this gate and out. It left when Israel was disobedient. We read in Ezekiel that the glory will also return. And as it will return, there will be a new reality, of which we read in the rest of the book. So amazing place to be, standing so close. Not a lot of people come here. Usually people observe this gate from the other side, from the Mount of Olives. It's a good location to look at it, but we are actually very close to it. So that's the last gate on this side. We'll continue that way, and on our way, on our left, you will have the Mount of Olives, and on our right, you will have the Temple Mount.
Okay guys, so we'll take a short break here. The blue line shows you now the journey we took in this episode. So we did the New Gate, the Damascus Gate, the Herod's Gate, the Lion's Gate, and the Golden Gate. And in my next video, which I will publish probably this weekend, we will continue this journey and see the Dan Gate, the Zion Gate, and the Jaffa Gate. It's going to be a very interesting journey also, so make sure you don't miss it. And the best way not to miss it is to subscribe to my channel, to like this video, and to hit that bell button. Thank you so much for your attention. I wish you all the best. Shalom.